Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get rocking and rolling on this day soon enough. We'll wait a little bit. We'll some folks roll on in for the morning, and then we'll arguably get started. Ah, yeah. Good morning. Yep, good morning, Matty. Strange market today. Yeah, we'll jump into it here in just a sec. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, Matty, you're here. We'll wait. Yeah, we'll wait a little bit because then I'll just be repeating myself. So we'll just hang out for a sec. Leave that up there. Excuse me. Sneezing. SPRC. That could get interesting. Get that one up. All right. Well, again, we're still. I mean, I guess we're supposed to start at 5 o'clock, but like I said, we'll just kind of chill for a little bit. All right. What's the economic data for today? Fed, just a bunch of random Fed speak, so pretty much no concern there. In short, though, we have flipped the market positive. So obviously, we're watching watching the market's long bias this morning. That flip that I'm talking about happened. Good morning, Steve. Yeah, the flip that I'm talking about happened pretty much this morning. Remember we said they like to kind of manipulate things in the after hours and pre-market and blah blah blah. So I mean that's not. I mean that is true, but regardless of that, again our 50 SMA right now on the SPY is priced at 66408. So if we're to go into a 5-minute chart, real quick. Again, this is the 50 SMA. So yesterday, what did we do? Ultimately, so all said and done, what happened yesterday is we ran into, it's all on the screen, right? Watch it. We'll just go over all of it, and then we can do this multiple times if I have to. It's all no big deal. All right, so bearish, that's a sell signal, that's a sell operation. Oversold sell operation, counter long bounce back to sell signal resistance VWAP, which creates a lower high. We roll it down the following day, end up catching support, bouncing the market all the way back to the 50 SMA by the end of the day. After such a big rally, the market ultimately doesn't break out and go right away, breaks down 50 SMA, or you could call it a reject, whatever you want, through the after hours and into the early morning pre-market. Basically, when everyone's sleeping at about 4 in the morning, they flip the market positive and algorithms go on the long side since 4 a.m. and drive the price higher since we're now positive over the 50 SMA. So we're going to be watching things more on the long side, and we will stay macro long as long as the market is above the 50 SMA. All right, so that's pretty much it. Algos flip long at 4 a.m. today. And when I say flip long, it's as it relates to the system. Obviously, the market was rallying long all day yesterday, but that's still, again, that whole bounce is a counter long bounce because we weren't over the 50. Now that we're over the 50 SMA, we may be looking at, a trend change or, channeling up the market, right? So you went down, resistance, couldn't print in a new low, back up to resistance, and then 4 a.m. above resistance, right? And then also we did mention, yesterday or at some point, that the market, remember we said is if the market gets through the volume weighted average price area, that's where you'll see a move up towards like 668. All right, so if we kind of, and the price has changed since the last time we did that, but it's more like 66. Either way, I don't even want to, it's all good. I'm just going to delete all this random stuff off the chart. Remove 15 drawing. Oh, that's way more than I wanted. There we go. All right, so now we've broken over the 50 SMA here. So extended trading hours. Or what if? That wouldn't really be legit. Yeah. Okay. Oh, also another thing, right? So I'll put it on the 5-minute because they can see the 5 minutes cleaner. All right, so if we think about where the 50 SMA broke up, right? So this is for obviously more short-term trading stuff, but we know that the market got positive over the 50 SMA right there. So that's algorithms flipping up and long. So what do? We take a volume weighted average price and we anchor to the low of that candle that started the break over the 50 SMA. And essentially the way it works is, right, so market breaks up over the 50 SMA, so you're supposed to be long bias. You take a VWAP, start tracking the low or the candle that breaks over, and then when markets pull back in that VWAP, you look to be long. That's pretty much it. The 1 minute didn't hold as clean today as the 5 minute, but nonetheless, or like here's a 5 minute volume weighted average price of our breakout, right? So we take a VWAP, we anchor up, right? So we're just riding up the market long right now, arguably on some 1 and 5 minute volume weighted average prices of said breakout. So nonetheless, that's pretty much, that's really what's going on. And so ideally you're supposed to be long right there and or right there, right? Because that would be as close as possible to the transition. If you get long here, your risk in theory is all the way to there, right? Because who's to say the market can't pull back to
the trend and then stay positive, right? Just because the trend is positive doesn't mean it has to keep going straight up, right? So that's always a thing you have to think about. If you're not in directly at the break or the transition of the market turning bullish, your risk, in a sense, is always going to be back to the 50 SMA, right? So just like yesterday, right? So this was the 50 SMA, this green line that I'm pointing at, that was a 50 SMA. See how the market broke up? If you chase this long, if it doesn't keep going, you instantly go back to the 50 SMA, right? And then it broke down. So let's say you went short because it's breaking down the 50 SMA. If it doesn't just keep going down for forever, what's it end up doing? Of reversing back to where? The 50 SMA. And then the market broke up and now it's long. So now the market's going long. So unless the market just goes long for forever, eventually what's it do? Come back to the 50 SMA. All right? Because that is the uptrend, downtrend. Uptrend, downtrend. Markets go from uptrends to downtrends. All right? So no matter what, you're always going to see markets kind of transition that SMA. But anyways, we're on the long side of the markets this morning. We'll see how good the long, is, how well it works, if it does or doesn't, if it's a 1 day or a 2 day or a 3 day. I don't know. I don't make those rules. I just follow the system. So system says we're positive, so I'm going to say we're positive until we're not. Like the past couple days, right? We have a bearish move down, and then we talk about on this day, you're basically looking for resistance on the highs. And then the following day, we said look for a bearish short in the morning, followed by a long bias bounce, and then pretty much never suggested to look anything for a bounce. All right, and now we wake up this morning and markets transition to bullish, and now we're looking for potential macro change to the long side. So essentially, we've been bearish and basically bearish with looking for counter longs. Now we are potential macro swing long looking for dip to long, unless obviously we fail the 50 SMA again. Then we flip that sort of bias. Good morning. Good morning. What time are we? 9:04. It's 9:04 a.m. I have a feeling today is going to be a great, great day. Oh, wait. Let's go look at the news. Hold on. What did the news ended up saying yesterday? I mean, the news is actually somewhat correct for once, which is just that the market's going up, which it is. It had a huge bounce yesterday. We did flip the market positive today. So it's going to be a matter of whether or not we hold this buy signal or not, and then the news organizations should flip fully positive. We'll see how that goes. I mean, Bitcoin's obviously rolling down this morning. I mean, it's not really a surprise, guys. We already know what's pretty much supposed to happen with Bitcoin, right? It's not, you shouldn't be sitting here all. Actually, I don't even have the levels on this chart, so maybe it's the other one. I don't know. Maybe I deleted them again on accident. I don't know. Because I'm using two different. Hold on, let's see. No, save. Let's go here. Oh, yep, there they are. So we already got all the levels, so there's really There's no need to worry. There's no need to be anxious, scared. On this stream, we have your back. And pretty much tell you everything that will happen to Bitcoin pretty much before it happens. It's not too complicated. All right, well, not really. It's not that we don't see now. Let me show you. Bitcoin miners are going up crazy. Maybe a trap. Not necessarily. I mean, the price of miners and the price of stocks and Bitcoin correlation price aren't always a 1-to-1. You know, they don't necessarily have a 1-to-1 relationship, if you will. Let me readjust some of this stuff. Just want to make sure it's still correct. I mean, it's all relative, but. I mean, this is kind of a tricky spot for me to like map off. I'm ending up with just a bunch of levels because it's more of like a congestion support. There's so many different variations of support that we could arguably see used. When I say support, I mean, you know, this market is on Bitcoin is selling down, right? It's selling down and it's essentially seeking out counter trend support in my opinion, right? And as far as mapping off the exact pinpoint potential bottom of any one of these sell moves, I mean, it could arguably, for me, be any one of these levels, right? So when I look for supports, to be honest, I'm looking for exacts, as close as I can get to the penny and or dollar, right? So that would be arguably any one of these price points in here. And I wish I could tell you. It's not, like I said, it's not like I can just pick from one. It's not like I just have one or two. I mean, you got a bunch of different dailies. There's a bunch of different weeklies in here. I mean, and your guess is as good as mine, right? And you know, it's not like, you know, it's easy. You'd be like, oh yeah, this is all a support zone. Sure, but every single one of those lines you see on the chart is where I'd expect algorithms to potentially pin the bottom. And when I say pin the bottom, that sounds kind of dumb saying that, but I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're looking for the markets to hit pretty much all and any of those levels on the downside. And now we have a new anchor spot. So you see how we have the untested daily VWAP on the high, right? Initially, when we first drew this box, right? When we had initially drawn this box, it was probably up here. It was something like this, right? Now a couple days has passed, and now look where it's at. It's coming down. Right, so give this another couple weeks, and this zone is going to be down like this, right? But nonetheless, we have a new anchor spot, right? Because we created a daily lower high here, right? So we're rolling down. So now we're going to be anchoring to this candle here, and the current daily candle. So high, and then we're going to be anchoring to this one. Essentially, this is currently our daily volume weighted average price zone on the top now. Hold on, I want to make this yellow. That's fine, whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much the way Bitcoin's set up now. Which is probably looking for this market to sell down into some of these levels, right? Find support somewhere, and then we're going to counterbalance the market now back to that zone, which this zone I'm drawing to could very well be, you know, it will go lower. So this zone may look more like this in the future, right? It could be something like that, right? More like down there. All right. So just got to give it some time. This daily leg essentially not needs to, but if we start to take out that low, and it starts to develop our chart a little bit better. All right, so good morning, everyone. Good morning. We're just covering what's going to happen to Bitcoin sooner than later, and then a couple days will pass, and then it will happen, and then we'll all just kind of cheer about it, because yay. Yeah, that's pretty much that. There's a lot of randomness on this chart. Let's take some of that. Oh wait, hold on. I need to do something here. So this would be October 13th. So we're gonna do now. Price and date range. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially, like we said, October 13th could arguably be the start of a bear market. So based off of previous cycles, if we're going to repeat, then we're basically would be starting a bear market here. So that's why I've drawn this box, expecting that this is all more or less bearish with cycles repeating. That being said, my fingers are crossed that we don't have a bear market, because obviously if Bitcoin just keeps going up, then more people make money, I make money. So, that would be good, but, So this is kind of one of those ones where, like, you really hope you're not right, because it doesn't truly benefit you in the immediate. Good morning, Rico. Good morning. How are you? All right, we'll go back over to SPY. There's not going to be a whole lot to mention here. Actually, I'm going to take a second and just peek around the pennies. Haven't really had anything I could catch in the right moments today. Granted, if I woke up earlier and actually arguably tried to, I probably would, but... see, I did buy OMER, but I only took it off for a smaller win because I didn't get the actual breakout, and that's unfortunate. That one boomed out. Should have just held some. Whatever. Yeah, at this point, it's kind of like I'm just going to have to wait till the open and see if any penny stocks pull back to support that's tradable. I don't really see setups that would make sense right now. Which, again, is typically the case. Oh, man. Sorry. Got the yawns over here. Well, I'm glad to see that our viewership spiked up right at about 9 o'clock. That tells me that people are showing up right about 9, which is arguably what the thumbnail says and where I'm supposed to start. But I appreciate it. It tells me you guys are tuning in right about when we start. So, thanks for that. Appreciate it. All right, so real quick, let's just kind of cover something that we could arguably expect, which it's already been on the screen. I haven't really mentioned it, but
Obviously, if we're looking at the 30-minute volume weighted average price of the market, that's right there. So that's always kind of an area that we would expect if when the momentum from pre-market on the long stalls and runs out, we can arguably pull the markets down to about that price. Right. So again, I'll just label this real quick. Pre-market pullback target slash support. Well, it's trailing support over under for meow. And I should probably put an arrow to that, right? Yeah, because I know if anyone that has never seen our stream comes in, they won't know what it's really talking about, but it's right there. All right, so ZGM. Yeah, so I am actually watching ZGM. So that one doesn't have a ton of trading history, but I am watching ZGM. I've already kind of been looking at that. VIVK, that one's a little cheaper. I actually tried to take, no, I not tried, I did. I took a small trade on VIVK as it was back testing the 4 hour already. Did some small trades on that, didn't amount to anything. Just didn't really get picked up in momentum after the back test. So just didn't have follow through when I was into it, or well, in it, right? So whether or not it works now or works later, again, it's kind of irrelevant. But that is another one that I already tried and still kind of watching a little bit. They're right at those levels. But again, you always got to be slightly cautious, right? Because obviously they can be good start points, but also the failure points, right? Because if it breaks out, back test, but then it doesn't go, then it's obviously going to break that level, go down. So just like anything in trading, right? Generally, your good entry spot is also your kind of breakdown. So anyways, yeah, keep an eye on VIVK. And then obviously throughout the day, if anything else kind of changes that looks, halfway decent, then, I'll try to mention it or, maybe take a stab on it. And just a heads up, guys, when it comes to penny stocks or any of the other stocks that arguably I may look at or mention, I do not take heavy positions on really any of these things. I generally am going in with like 2-3% of my account on any position. That way, if anything doesn't work, it really it won't hurt, kind of thing. And also I can look away from it and not have a heart attack. Also, I'm not trading a massive account through Thinkorswim right now. Again, I'm really actually just building up a smaller Roth IRA account that I haven't been able to trade in for years because of, well, the stipulation of income rules and whatever. But so anyways, I'm just using a Roth IRA account, usually run about 2, maybe 3% any given penny stock, any given stock. And that allows me to because this Roth IRA is below 25 grand, so it's restricted to the PDT, so it's straight cash account, right? So, you have to, well, if you want to trade anything, right, you can't over leverage anything by any means, or else you won't have any money to trade with, throughout the remainder of the day. So a lot of these things I'll take small positions on and then try to arguably put on multiple positions a day, and all I need is just a few to hopefully do okay, and it washes the losers, and that's kind of how that works for me. So just know any given trade or anything that may be mentioned on the stream, don't think behind the scenes. My conviction is so high that I'm just loading, right? I think something may work. I'll put on, enough risk to make money, but not enough to hurt me, and I can repeat that over and over and over and over. Absolutely, Steve. Yeah, it's a fun feeling when you start to, and so now you're waking up every morning and you have an approach that you can follow, right? So you're kind of no longer in that questioning area. So now you should not, and so arguably, as long as, I know what you're looking at. You're looking at ZGM, you're looking at, whatever other one, right? So, and I know what you're looking for because I told you what to look for, right? So it becomes a little more fun in that regard because you can easily just sift through stocks like it's nothing, right? You can go through 10, 15, 20 stocks and you just know, you're like, it's not the right spot, or like, I'm too late. It's like, oh, maybe it's back testing, right? So it's nice when you know exactly what you're looking for. because then you can really sift through things pretty quickly. So yeah, Steve, like, a couple weeks back, maybe like a couple months back, I remember one day I probably bought like 30, probably like literally 30, maybe 20 different penny stocks in a day. Just a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. And, it happened to be a really good day for penny stock market. And, of those 30 I traded, maybe 5 or 6 of them blew up really big, made 30, 40, 50, 60%. The other ones losing 10, 15 here or there, blah, blah, blah. But by the end of the day, it all pans out because you've just diversified your risk across so many different potential setups. Some of them are bound to work, right? So that's kind of the way I approach things. I've kind of removed myself from going balls to the walls crazy. I kind of miss those days, but I just can't do that anymore, unfortunately. I wish I could, but maybe I'll get back there one day. I don't know. I remember calling my dad. Well, it's actually the other way around. He needed help doing something. I was supposed to meet him and my cousin, but then I was a little late, and they're like, "Why are you late?" And I was like, "I just made like $50,000 trading today, which was my biggest gain in a day ever." And so I remember that day because I was talking to my dad, and we had to move a trailer or something. I'm like, "I'll be there, I'll be there. I just made 50 grand." He's like, "What? That's crazy." So I've had those days. I've had the moments. They're amazing. But to be able to pull those numbers consistently, man, for a long time, that, well, clearly didn't happen, right? It only happened for, um, you know, shorter period, if you will. But anyways, enough of that. You guys already know it's on the screen. What's going on? What time is it? 9:23. So I'm gonna probably get a little refill on the coffee. I'm gonna put this cute text on the screen real quick. It's gonna say BRB coffee, and then I'm gonna put a cute little unicorn on it like that, and I'll be back. All right, I'm back here. Guess we can take that cute unicorn off now. See, I wasn't, well, let's see, that was a few minutes ago. Obviously not keeping up with my scans too quick, but you can see there's another one, CSAI. If you go look at CSAI, you'll notice just a few minutes ago, at the price of $1.42, it broke out, and at the price of $1.35. So if you go look at CSAI, map off the price of $1.42, $1.35, and you'll see they pretty much created a flag pattern on CSAI coming through the 4-hour and 30-minute, and then sent off a little bit of a buy algorithm there. Which, again, is just right there. CSAI. Zoom in, pop up. You can see right here. I'll enlarge this a little bit. Right there. Here's your breakout. You can call it like a little flag, up and over, into the 4-hour. And now up, yeah, 30%, not bad. Time is at 9:29. All right. There's the pullback target hit there for whatever that is for the market. Nice little support tag there. Let's see. The volatility index. The volatility index has its 30-minute trend at like 1926. So arguably, we got support on the VIX there. Interesting. All right, have a good one, Matty. Cheers, brother. Yeah, right now VIX is popping up, arguably heading towards the price of 1987. We'll see. Right now we got the VIX trapped in between the 15-minute and the 30-minute. It's just kind of an awkward spot for the VIX. Nice little bounce up there from the market off the trailing support over under. Again, guys, we're in a macro long bias environment. Market is not bearish currently. Do, 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 do. Nice long press there on the market. Cannot complain. I mean, right now we got, let's see, markets. I want to say there's a couple markets that are up right now. Magnificent Seven are kind of sideways, so arguably going to need a little bit of a turnaround from some of the Magnificent Seven to keep the markets pressing upwards for the moment. If those fall apart or any of the other markets fall apart, we'll stall on the long. But for the moment, things are okay. Do, 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 do. right, same old, same old. Market's just holding where it's supposed to be holding. Market's just holding to the upside. Easy high. All right, yeah. Sorry, I wish I had a little bit more to say. Not a ton here. I'm kind of searching around, looking, hopefully trying to find some hotter sectors, etc. Let's see, consumer staples. 1, 2, consumer and communications. 1, 2, 3. So consumer staples. Where we're at right now. Again, guys, pretty basic stuff. Market's just in a buy signal. We're just pretty much watching the markets up for the time being, and unless we're signaled to do something different. Hey, nice little breakup from the market. Who would have thought? Wow. SPRC stock's coming into $4.25, which basically means SPRC is on a 4-hour SMA. If it can break like 420, 430s or whatever, SPRC, then maybe she'll make a jump for us. It just depends. She has to get through that 430s. Sorry guys, I'm just looking through stuff right now. Again, VIX is popping up to that 15-minute SMA, which again is priced at like 1982. So as that happens, we're going to see the markets pull just a bit. All right, so the market is now pulled back to pre-market 30-minute over under, etc. Again, right now, if we were to look at some of the market internals, you'll see why. Again, most of our stuff kind of started pulling a little bit. Magnificent 7 down. Some of our just the advancing declining issues are kind of rolling to the downside right now. So obviously that's why we're rolling this market here a little bit. And it's just rolling back down to the said level we always said it would probably pull back to, right? So we had our first initial pullback in the morning, support bounce, market internals kind of fall out, we roll it back down to pre-market support. Now arguably we'll see a pop here, and then if it rolls down and breaks later, that's just another thing. But either way, we're right on that pre-market support, over under, so on and so forth. Again, there's your kind of little support pop from SPY at the pre-market support, over under as suggested. And markets remaining positive over the pre-market support. Let me zoom out for you guys so you guys can see it again. Oh, way. Woo! Pre-market support, baby. There we go. SPRC breaking out of 430. Nice. I'm going to sell a little bit on that candle high. Perfect. Yay. Yippee. Alright, going to bring down SPRC just so you guys can obviously see it for yourself. But as we mentioned, once you get through the price of like 420, 430, should see a move up. Well, it's not that it would have, but it's just, again, if you look at SPRC and we bring up, the system, right? So we have the 4-hour SMA come into play right at 430. We had the 30-minute SMA come into play at 373. So that being said, those would be the two price points we are most interested in. So if we go and take a little peek at them real quick, SPRC breaks over the 30-minute, so that's 30-minute support and bounce up, etc. Pulls back, holds 30-minute support, holds 30-minute support, etc. Moves back to the 4-hour, then we break out the 4-hour and pop. So anyways, that's that. So that's why I talked about SPRC today, because it was obviously still holding support down here, and yeah, just that's pretty much it. Market's still going up, so that's good. Would make sense because obviously the market's positive, so we're not supposed to be betting, bearish really the market, unless it's like short-term trading, which would be, trying to take the market back to support here, then watching long. So if I wasn't already, I do have some long the market. I'm currently swing long the market. I actually haven't mentioned that today, but you should just kind of always assume that whenever the market's positive, I'm going to be going long, or at some point trying to be long or taking some long, etc. So I already have some long the market. I've been long the market since pre-market, and that's just because we're in a buy signal. So we're supposed to look for higher low, higher high scenario till stated otherwise. All right, so that's a good little move. Hey, let's go. What is this? So, yeah, UPRO positions doing good. That one, not so much. Okay, that's into the green. That's into the green now. That one's in the green. That's good. That's good. I'm trying to get better at rotating money through hot sectors. So today's like the first day I'm really sitting down and trying to rotate money through sectors. I gotta say, it's not going as I had initially planned, but it's okay. A market's going up. Crazy. Who would have thought? Yes. Well, it doesn't help when your computer won't load your gosh darn tickers either. That's always makes the day easier. Like today, right now, we got movement in the utility sector, the energy sector, I mean, really everything's pretty much positive, right? So like here's another good little tip for you guys, right? So I'm looking at where money's flowing right now in the markets and sectors and et cetera. But so obviously we know the market flipped positive this morning, right? So the market's going long, right? And look at what's happening to your sectors, right? On the day, you can see most overall are green. And that's just arguably because the stock market has entered a buy move and a buy algorithm and a buy program. So behind the scenes, computers are doing their best to be long equities. As a result, what do you see happen on your sectors? A lot of things turn green, vice versa. Like the other day when Trump tweeted and the market was crashing and we went into a sell move, all this would be red, right? So that's all that's going on. Markets are just in a buy move, so we're just seeing green kind of across the board on a lot of different things. I think I might take a small stab on the stock APA just because I see it possibly turning trend positive. I have no idea if it's going to do well or not, but I figured why not. Okay. What else we got in here? What else? That would have been nice, but that one already took off. Hubba. Basically, what we would like to see too, guys, just an FYI, is this on the VIX real quick. Let me bring up the VIX real fast. So I'm going to bring this over. All right, and we're going to go into this chart up here. Sorry. God darn it. Would this thing freaking... All right, so... basically, you guys know, right? VIX is broken out over the 30-minute, right? So the VIX volatility is up. Trump thing, whole thing comes down. So you see how the VIX is coming down to the 30-minute? Basically, for this long move today to take off even more, we want to see the VIX break down the 30-minute. Because if the... So think about it this way, guys. You came into the stream this morning, Connor goes, hey, the market's positive. It flipped positive at 4 a.m. So the S&P 500 went positive at 4 a.m. So that's a catalyst for the markets to go long, okay? So we're doing that. Well, now what? Well, if the long move is truly to be, say, successful or it's legitimate, then we should have confirmation on the VIX as well, right? Because if the market's in a buy signal and going up, then shouldn't we expect the VIX to be what? Going down? Yes. It's moving down a little bit, but it hasn't quite broken down. So if we can break the VIX down today below the 30-minute 50 SMA, now that would be the VIX going negative. That in itself becomes a new catalyst for the markets to go long. So at 4 a.m., the markets were given the long signal. If today, some point, the VIX breaks down the 30-minute, that's another catalyst that computers and algorithms will read to take the markets long again, right? So if you think about, oh, the market's already up, it's kind of high, should I keep buying? Or is it going to pull back, right? If the VIX breaks down and volatility starts to go away, then we'll force the move even higher, right? So that's how you kind of keep long moves forcing up after they already started sometimes with a situation like this where we break the VIX down. Now, is the VIX going to break down? I don't know. Is the VIX going to hold support? I don't know, right? But we just know what's to come if these things play out. So right now, we know that on the VIX, we have this little support area around, when I say support, it's 1927. That's the 30-minute VIX level. So arguably, that's going to have to break down for this momentum to kind of keep going on the market. So we'll see if that ends up playing out or not. You guys are so talkative this morning in chat. So talkative. SPRC move doing well. Still have a very small bit of the position on that. So what I have left on SPRC is just left to run for as long as it possibly wants to go, or until I decide I just want to take it off. Do 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 do. Beautiful long move on the market. So now the VIX is sold down into that 30-minute level. We'll see if it ends up breaking or not, or what have you. Ooh, I like that one. ARE. Beautiful long move. I mean, who would have thought, right? Gotta love CNBC for their alert. It told me it was in a buy move. So I got long, and now the market's up. Gotta thank CNBC. Could have never done it without them. SPGA. Ooh, that could be interesting. How's the movement on that guy typically? Is that right? Ooh, what about this guy? Alright, I'm going to take off there on SPRC. Fully out of that one, because I don't really care. Why not? Alrighty. Let's go. Oh my gosh, look at the market. Like, who would have thought, right? Crazy. So I'm chatting. That's good. Yeah, no, YouTube right now does not. YouTube does not put bots on our channels. The really, really big streams, there's a lot of bots on that helps the viewership numbers go up. So there's no bots on this channel. That's for sure. All real humans. Man, look at SPY, guys. Who would have thought it was going to go up today? Really? Like crazy. So, what do we think the news is going to say today? The news is going to be the China fear woes are gone. The China trade talks are back on. The 100% tariffs aren't as bad as we thought. Or it's going to be, because there are some Fed speaks today. So it's Wednesday. You have 12:10. Fed president, who cares? Another Fed governor, no one cares, no one cares, no one cares. They're going to say something like who, whatever, inflation, jobs numbers. So by the end of the day, we can only assume that the news is either going to be reporting that the stock market's up today, puts on gains because something the Fed says about the jobs numbers or employment isn't as bad. Or it's going to be the China trade tariff war thing isn't as bad as we thought. Markets are up. Wall Street looks past the China fears. Right? That's what it's going to be. So, again, why? Because the market's in a buy signal. So the markets are going up. So things are going to go up. So, soon, the market is going to sell the retail public on every reason why the market's up, except for the real reason the market's up. Because the trend flipped positive at 4 a.m. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. All right, utilities 1.41. Tech. What we got moving in? What we got moving in the tech, huh? What's going on in the old techie McShwecky? Sorry, I'm doing my weird thing again. WY is not working. Tesla working. Okay. Just absolute. The markets are absolutely pumping. And no one knows why. Oh, snap. Missed AMD like an idiot. I was watching that one, too. That one started a little bit of a buy move. Ooh. It's kind of late. Should have known better. Should have known better. Alright, where's the VIX? The VIX is, I don't know. It's doing whatever it's doing. All right, markets with a little bit of a pulley magoo. Not really. I mean, it's pretty basic. I want real love, baby. Wow. All right, so real quick, since we've kind of had this decent move take off, we'll just kind of throw some random stuff on here. We're going to take a little anchor B-wap. We're going to go like that, bing, bang, boom. Do, 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 do. Again, we're just working on the micro high frequency trading. We're just basically going from this last little spurt up, current little supports, etc. Sorry guys, I wish I was a little bit more fun and entertaining. I guess I don't know how to be. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I could say a bunch of stuff, or I could just put my text on the screen with an arrow before market opens telling you that's the pullback target and that's your trailing support over under, right? So arguably when you come into a stream and everything you need to know is just put on the screen in a couple sentences, not even one sentence, if you will, and an arrow. It's like, well, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, we could be drawing a bunch of fair value gaps and trend lines here and trend lines there, and then a flag pattern, and well, if Trump says this, and then, well, what if he does that, and blah, blah, blah. All right, we could do that, but it is easier just to put a little text on the screen, tell you where it's going to go and where support's going to be at. Today I've put some positions on APA, ARE, EQT, FOSL, IRM, LCRX, Tesla, WY, UPRO. So I got currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, basically 12 open positions currently. just going to keep searching around the market, see if there's anything cool going on. Again, most of the money right now today, it would appear, is in utilities, real estate, and technology. And right now, real estate is the one that seems... Right now, real estate's put on the biggest gains today, so... As I said before, I put on a couple positions in real estate today. Yeah. Obviously, we want to keep seeing the market do well. That would help, but, market does what it do. BXP. Ooh. Okay, so... What market is this? This is XLRE. Wait a second. Why am I doing this? Something's not right. XLRE. Yes. Where did that go? Wait. Hold on. Something is not adding up here. Where did my chart thingy go? There it is. Okay. So XLRE. Where the hell are you at right there? So this would be this. Super busy chat here today. Really busy. Heck, we might soon need some bots in here to keep the chat room flowing. Oh, okay. I'm driving. That's good. Beep bop, beep beep boop, beep 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 beep. Yeah, so markets are just doing what they normally do, guys. This is nothing different than we always see. Market goes into a buy signal. Market pulls back into the open, then gets bought up, and then we go up. And now we go look at the news. Let's start reading the news just for fun. Google stock market news today. 18 minutes ago, Dow gains 800 points as strong earnings over... Look at this. Ready? Ready, guys? CNBC 18 minutes ago. Dow gains 300 points as strong earnings overshadow China trade fight. Did we not just say 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago? What's the news going to say today? Oh, the market's up, gaining, and no one cares about the China trade fight anymore. There you have it. How is it that I possibly could predict what CNBC was going to say before they even released the article? Stocks gain as strong earnings soothe trade fears from Bloomberg 9 minutes ago. Maybe their entire news organization just follows our stream. Stock market today, Dow and S&P 500, NASDAQ futures climb as strong bank earnings, rate cut, whatever, right? Dow Jones rises 200 points as Nvidia rebounds. So I guess the market's just going up because it's all Nvidia, and they know that because who knows. Treasury Secretary Bessent says stock market decline won't deter U.S. So look at that, ready? So now, just an hour, so the day that we start a new buy signal, this guy, Secretary Bessent, says stock market decline won't deter the U.S. from... what? I don't even know what he said. From taking strong action against China. Okay. But I thought, so we got a Fed saying they're going to take strong action, but then we have CNBC saying don't worry about the trade fears, right? It's like, Oh, that's too good. So, again, that's how you predict news before it's going to happen. Oh, you know what, Steve? Again, I'm very sorry to hear that, and I will say a prayer for your daughter. Hopefully, her recovery is well and procedure went well. I'm sorry that lapsed my mind, but I'll make sure to do that today for your daughter. And for you and your family. Hell, and all of you guys in here. Yeah, I'm really salty about AMD because I was looking at AMD and I was like, yeah, this one could have a breakout, and then I just didn't follow it. And now I'm kind of over here just being a salty little magoo. What about Tesla? All right, Tesla's doing all right. That's good. Nah, all right now. All right. Also, the VIX is coming down below that 30-minute level. I mean, it's just a couple. I mean, it's a little bit of price action below that 30-minute level. Obviously, to keep the long going, it hasn't really resulted in pretty much anything though. So, just a heads up. Go Tesla, keep pumping, make me rich. FSLR. No, wait, maybe. I don't know. You know what? Don't want a little bit of that Dale. What's going on with our friend Bitcoin? Just basically doing, I don't know, nothing fun. Again, Bitcoin pretty much, we don't, like we said, I mean, like, this area is really not of, I don't want to say it's not of interest. It's just, I mean, really, we don't care for this. I mean, it's either we want to be, yeah, man, never, we'll just forget about that. We'll go back to that some other point. Oh my gosh, the market is going up, guys. This is absolutely crazy. Who would have freaking thought? Not me. No way. This is all straight up lucky today. Come on. Go up more. Just keep going. We want market to go up. That's funny. Well, that's good news. I'm happy to hear that. Very happy to hear their daughter's doing at least relatively well from waking up and eating. Alrighty, folks.
Also, Medi, I put on some CLSK because of you the other day, and I'm up about 7% on that, so appreciate you, fam. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Good morning, the Steph17. How are you, brother? Feel free to ask questions. I don't know if you're new here or even know who I am or whatnot, but yeah, feel free, hang out, enjoy yourself. Ask questions if you need. Essentially, I'm assuming you may have just hopped in, but long story short, the market where I'm drawing this arrow right now, this is where the market started a buy signal today over that price. So we've pretty much been long bias, psychology, trading, position, everything since this morning. And we'll pretty much continue to stay that way until the market suggests us to do something else. So real quick, I'm going to bring over the VIX so that you guys understand what's going on a little bit more. Ready? See this? Remember we said the VIX has to break down the price of like 1928 and then, you know, for the momentum to continue up on the market kind of thing. So real quick, what we're seeing is, sorry, 30 minute, there you go. So you can see how the market is just now starting to get below that SMA. So if the market gets acceptance below the SMA and runs a 30-minute downtrend, we will then look for the VIX to target down to the 1 hour. So essentially, oh, appreciate it, Steph. All right, yeah, so pretty much what's going to happen is, well, I can't say for sure it's going to happen, but, you know, arguably. So a full-on 30, no, I mean, I do know that. So a full-on 30-minute breakdown, VIX goes down to this price, $18.18. Does it run a full-on breakdown? Couldn't tell you. Just when it does do it, we're going to go there, right? So the best case scenario for the markets to stay long is that we break the VIX down, this 30-minute, whether that be today or not. It just in general, every time. This is a setup and a strategy for the end of time. Whether or not it happens today is irrelevant. It's just when it happens, right? So when the market successfully breaks down the 30-minute, which right now we're priced below it, so we started to come below it, and it runs a successful sell move, we're going to go from the 30-minute down to the 1 hour. And while the VIX sells from the 30-minute to the 1 hour, the markets usually pump, right? Because the VIX is selling off. Right, so as we sell the VIX from the 30-minute down to the 1 hour, the markets grind higher, typically. Does that happen right now? I don't know. But as long as the VIX stays below the 30-minute, that will be thumbs up for longs, right? So real quick, let's go into, say, a 1 minute or a 5 minute here. So this is the way the market is kind of currently positioned. Basically, right now, the VIX has only two options. It's only going to sell down to here, or it has to do what? It has to back test its most recent breakdown, which is where? Which is this yellow line right there. So that's basically the two options that are going to happen in this moment. Either we back test the most recent breakdown, or it just literally breaks down and goes to the 1 hour, right? So those are the two expected moves on the VIX to come. That would only change if we get acceptance above, right? So either way, I know it may not seem all that crazy, but that's how algorithms think and that's how they move. So right now we're pretty much just going to remain long bias the market until we're proven otherwise, which would be VIX breaking out or, you know, markets going into a sell move, etc. So any hooser, we'll just kind of leave it at that for the moment. Bitcoin not really doing anything too crazy. SPY, cool, yeah. Beep, 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 beep. Also, let me also rephrase this to another way is, all right, so hold on. How do I make this simple? All right, so also another way to read this market is what happened over the past couple days. So over the past couple days, what did the market do? Right? So the market over the past couple days pumped, right? It just went up, and then today up. So this whole long move, what is that? That whole long on the market created what? The VIX to pull back to where? The trend support. So again, we started an uptrend, and the past 2 days of markets pumping basically allowed us to pull the VIX back to the over-under trend, where it will decide if it wants to remain in an uptrend. If so, we knock the market down. If it goes into a breakdown, then the buy signal on the market's legit, and we rally the market out. So that's what the algorithms, the computers, traders, myself, we're all trying to figure out in this moment is, does the market want to top here, or in general, because we're going to create a 30-minute trend bounce on the VIX, or are we going to send the VIX into a downtrend and then we'll continue rallying the market out, right? So the long for the market for the moment's pretty much done because we've come into the 30-minute. For the markets to continue right now, we would basically need the VIX to break down this 30-minute and continue to slide as it relates to the VIX. And when I say the long's pretty much done, I mean, that's not entirely true. It's just, again, it's that next thing that has to happen for momentum to continue. Side note, too. As long as, the Magnificent Seven continue to grind higher, then we'll be okay. But you can kind of see how the majority of the markets they're not extremely bullish. I mean, they're bullish, but not super duper bullish, right? I mean, you can see, right, they're kind of rolling a little bit, rolling a little bit, rolling a little bit. So it's not like, yesterday where they just got bought up and just kept going. So either way, we're at an interesting point for the market. We're basically going to need the VIX to go into a sell move to kind of further that long push easily.
Okay. Question. I don't. Well, let me see, because you could be looking at an incorrect level. So you said you went long MES when it broke the 50 SMA level around midnight. Then again, your midnight could be different than my midnight. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, basically. Yeah, no, for me, the market went positive at about 4 in the morning. So 4 a.m. Eastern time is when the 50 SMA broke positive. So that would have been on the SPY at a price of 664. So again, we use the 50 SMA on SPX and SPY. Generally, it's going to be pretty close price point like comparison to ES, but we use the SMA on SPX and SPY, correlate that to ES or MES. But yeah, the break was at 4 a.m. this morning. Basically right when the market opened is when the market flipped positive today. let's go. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna be right back because I'm probably gonna go hit the bathroom. Oh, wait, I kind of forgot one thing on the VIX. Well, not really. Basically this, right? So as the VIX, remember we said, like, there's only so many options this thing has in the immediate, which would be what? To either break down, go to the 1 hour, or come back up and back test the 30-minute in which it broke down, right? So where's the 30-minute? It's that yellow line, right? So this would be the breakdown, right? And then this is trying to back test, right? Obviously above the 30-minute is not beneficial for the market. Staying below the 30-minute is beneficial for the longs on the market. All right, so let's see. Still have some position on APA, ARE, ATAI, BXP, Dell, EQT, ES, FOSL, IRM, LCRX, Tesla, UPRO, WY, and ZGM. And I'll be right back. Hola. Weird. Nice. Good stuff, Steph. VIVK. Dang it. Nonetheless, good move there, VIVK. So yeah, this was one that I tried to take a stab at earlier off the 4 hour. Just didn't work, so obviously it came back down to the 30-minute, held support, and rally out. So again, there's another little penny stock working off our strategy, just wrong timing for me. The average. So basically, with how the VIX is moving, right? So if we bring this guy over. Again, if the VIX starts to re-break out this 30-minute trend, let me take this off. If the VIX starts to kind of reclaim this 1931, that could be seen as volatility kind of increasing, and that would probably result in the market pulling back some more. So VIX is still debating what it wants to do, if it wants to stay below or not, so on and so forth. Again, not a whole lot to say here, guys. This is all the basics. Market's positive. Yada, yada, yada. All right, well. Yay. Oh, CB maybe, probably not. Also, I forgot to mention, today we had a gap up right on SPX, so if we measure from the open to the previous, measure from the open to previous day's close, run a fib, this would be a fib for the overnight gap system, where when we have a gap and go or continuation, we expect the market to go up to the 161. So pretty much this is a strategy that whenever there's a gap, you can throw a fib on it and pretty much just know if the gap has continuation in the gap direction, we will most likely go to 161 off the gap and then hesitate. Not all the time, but many times. So essentially the market completed its long target destination from the overnight gap as well today, just an FYI. APA just turding out. I'm gonna head back to the 50. It's alright. Trash. Gonna get our entry. Figures. Whew.
We're coming into the 1 minute volume weighted average price trend support from the low of day. So ideally this is the current 1 minute support trend created from low of day. Best way to think of it is everyone that was getting long up, we have now come back to volume weighted average price of that move. Alright, there's your little pop off 1 minute volume weighted average price support from the current low of day. Pretty basic stuff. Funny. Alright, you just got the SPY rolling back down to the 1 minute volume weighted average price. Again, if you guys look at your market internals, you know exactly why, because nothing is currently moving that bullish in the market. So we've essentially done our long move and then faded out all markets. So we're just not moving positively, etc., etc. Do 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 do.
All right, VIX is now at the 30-minute 50 SMA. So you see how the market's kind of perfectly positioned themselves right now? You see how the market is setting or sitting right on the 1 minute volume weighted average price trend of today's long move, while at the same time they have the VIX positioned right at the 30-minute 50 SMA. So ideally, the market's on a very big VWAP over under, while the VIX is set up right below its 30 minutes. So if we start to essentially break down, then we're going to see the VIX break up, etc. So it's kind of positioned where the market's on edge. And if we start breaking out this VIX 30 minute, that means volatility increase and very well could result in this market continuing its slide below this VWAP zone that you currently see. So, little dicey, little dicer Magoo, little dicey McPoo. Oh boy. Well, I think that's probably where we'll end up ending for the day. I do got a meeting coming up in about the next 15 or so minutes. But yeah, I mean, guess we'll end it there for the day. Do a little recap here, which is pretty much the market is in a positive move. So the only way we're going to change back to bearish is if the VIX breaks out, which arguably, when I say change to bearish, that means just short-term trading. So if the VIX starts to break out here, that's going to cause generally negative pressure on the market, but our S&P is still actually positive, right? So you can see it's still over this 50 SMA. So we're not in negative territory, but if the VIX starts breaking out, that's essentially going to stall the long move and will pull the market down. So even though the market's been positive since 4 a.m., we have a situation where we've pulled the VIX back down to 30-minute trend. And if that trend decides it wants to hold support and break out, it will temporarily top the market, etc., etc. Worst case scenario for the current buy signal is that the market resets all the way to the 50 SMA. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. Could it happen? Sure. But ultimately, that would be worst case scenario. How would that end up happening? It would happen if the VIX breaks out and then goes into a big bounce. So as we said before, remember that, one second, that this whole bounce on the market really just allowed us to reset the VIX back to trend support, right? So if the trend wants to hold and we break volatility back up and out, that's what's going to cause the markets to do that. So that's what we're following for pretty much right now and over the next day or two is, does VIX hold 30-minute trend support and stay positive? If so, that means the market is fearful, and if the market is fearful, then the market will not trust this buy signal as much, and then will pull the buy signal back, and then say, hey, do you really want to stay in an uptrend, or do you want to go in a downtrend? So when the VIX breaks out, that's what we use to pull markets down in buy signals, right? So the only reasons we ever become bearish during a buy move is if the VIX breaks out and tells us to be fearful, or if the market goes into a sell move. So when do we get bearish? We look more bearish if what? The market is below here. All right. Or if we break out the VIX, which would be holding support here and rallying it up. That's how we get bearish. So we're either bearish because VIX is about to push up, or if the market actually was below. All right, but it's not. So anyways, we will end it there for the day. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And I guess I'll just see you back tomorrow. We'll do the same thing over again. Probably tell you where things are going to go before they go there, and then just laugh at the news. But yeah, so cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed the day. Again, not a whole lot more to say. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning.